And Sydney's still in lockdown, but David has managed to look sartorially elegant. David, what else is sartorially elegant?
Well, I think in this case it is the Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark 8.
The front, I think, has been particularly successful. I think it's been really successful because they didn't fiddle with the Mark 7-7.5 formula.
It's not over the top, and it's got a certain elegance to it. I like the fact that the lights have a degree of style to them. The other feature is that it has a light bar here, across here, and it's got these driving fog lights down here in the shape of an X, and 5 of them. Alan, what do you think about these tail lights? Are they different?
They've not fiddled with the 7.5 formula, which I think looked really good. You can tell it's different, but it's not so different that it looks like a completely different car. They're still LED. They look absolutely brilliant at night. But one thing I really like is Volkswagen's concealed handle, under which, you can't see it now, but is the camera. It pops out of this little compartment in here.
When you put it in reverse?
When you put it in reverse, yeah.
Which keeps it clean and dry.
And you like to be clean and dry, David. Let's have a look inside the boot.
Moderate size, not huge.
And what's under the floor?
It's a space saver that allows you to drive on it, perhaps only up to 80k, but you can still drive on it without too much fear.
And it's not a bloody puncture kit.
And it's not a puncture kit.
With it on the upper level, it opens a little bit more easily. But you can easily pull it out and then just slide it in, and that's on the lower level. But to close the boot, David, you noticed this before. There's little warning signs here. Now, David's just going to put his hand into the appropriate hole, and there's one of those on each side, look. And last on the back, a smart set of dual exhausts. David, pop this key into your pocket and walk towards the car. That unlocked without you having to do anything, but for some obscure reason, it doesn't do that when you walk away. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. But meanwhile, in the back seat,
got to duck your head.
Right.
That's very close. There's no question.
It is very close.
Headroom. Good room under the
that's
feet.
because it's set nice and high.
Yeah.
And headroom?
Good. 1.5, 2 inches.
Now, first of all, I'd like to point your attention to the tartan upholstery.
They brought that into that little Golf, which was the manual one that they had a little while ago, but now they've got it in this top of the
They do.
boat.
I really like it. Now, you've got a mat pocket down behind your seat there. But more importantly, at the back of the centre console, David, it's got a third zone for the back seats. Now, that's something that you normally get in much posher cars. And the thing that you'll notice on the back is how hard that is. But at the front door, David, what do you notice?
Oh, that's
it's much softer.
Not as firm. It has.
Isn't that so different? And the other thing on the front door, you'll notice that there's a panel for power windows and mirrors and all of that sort of stuff. The door locks, so they're in one place centrally, and there's one of those on either side. And down below, a little bin and a tiny bottle holder. Getting in, you'll notice there's no power adjustment for the front seat. That comes as part of the package. And David's going to start the car up now.
A little bit of a
Look
rev.
at that. That's just one of the many views, and of course a ding to let us know that we've got the bloody door open. We know we've got the door open. Now, a lot of people have been making comments about this dash, David, and quite frankly, they're wrong.
The layout seems simple when you first sit in it, yet once you start it up, you suddenly realise that it has great depth again in terms of controls and setup.
They complained about the amount of piano black, but frankly, I think the amount of piano black is brilliant. And it's got this one big long stretch right across the dash. There's no gear lever, just a little tiny nipple, David. Give your nipple a tweak. Lovely. Put it into park with the park button. There's an auto hold button, electronic brake, and the stop start button. But look, if you want to go and turn the fan down, you've got to go into the climate menu, which is down below. And then you've got to turn the fan down with this, so either turn the temperature up or the fan down. The buttons here along the front, there's temperature control for the air conditioning, but that's not backlit at night.
And this is air conditioning, but this isn't. This is audio.
Yeah, which is really strange, but it brings up a big audio thing to let you know you're in audio and not fan, if you care to read it.
It's foolproof.
But with your phone in the Qi wireless charger with that very attractive purple light, you can put your phone into Apple CarPlay.
Without having to plug it in.
Eventually. When you've got it in the appropriate view, it'll show kilowatts instead of revs, which I think is much more useful.
It also allows you to set what you want on the left and what you want on the right.
Yeah, simply by using these two buttons. So that one will bring up the view on the left menu, and the right one brings up the view on the right menu.
So I can have my fuel gauge, and I can have over here time.
Personally, I found the fuel gauge very confusing because it's showing up now as 400 kilometres to empty. That can't possibly be right. So I've brought you to my favourite piece of road, the only piece that we can access in lockdown. So if you're wondering why all the reviews are the same, this is why. I've put my modes into sport mode, my drive modes into sport, and I had to stop to do that because I'm not quite used to the buttons yet. And without a little button down here on the dash, I'm not confident enough to actually try and access it because I've got to do that and then try and find the right button on the screen. Unlike hot hatches of the old days, the suspension was hard, and that was your lot. You just had really hard suspension and you drove around like that all the time. That's not so now. This little Golf GTI has active suspension that changes with the drive modes. And so that means as you put it into sport mode, the steering gets a little bit more feeling, although it's electric, so that is simulated road feeling. And the suspension toughens up. But having said that, this is still very compliant. It's lovely and controlled in corners. Very soft, but no body roll. Going exactly where I point it. Steering, lovely and precise. So not only has it got more road feel, simulated road feel, but it's very, very direct. And this road has a disappointingly low speed limit, so I can't really get stuck in. But I'll stick the boot in when we get onto the highway. Now you'll notice that I've not got any of my active features going. I've turned off the highway assistant because it's a little bit too strong for these corners. It would drive us insane. God, this is a joy. There's that pleasing little burp between gear changes. And in what seems to be a second, we're at the legal speed limit. I'm going to press and hold my paddle, and I'm now back into automatic. I am going to select comfort. Now the comfort mode has made everything nice and easy and breezy. I'll get to the speed limit and then I'll set. That's just a little under the speed limit, so I'll press the up arrow. That'll take me to 110. And then finally, my travel assistant is now on. So I'm now set for a very long journey. And IQ Drive is one of Volkswagen's big innovations.
What can I do for you?
Nothing. The voice assistant...
Sure, it will get cooler up the front right shortly.
No, I don't want it to get cooler up the front right. Sync air conditioning controls.
Got it.
One thing that I haven't mentioned, that apart from on this not very good piece of highway, not only is the ride very comfortable in comfort mode, but it's also reasonably quiet, especially for a hot hatch. I will say one thing. I really like the Volkswagen Group's adjustable armrest on the centre bin. You can put it up nice and high so that it is actually useful. With a lot of other brands, it's not adjustable. So if you adjust the height of your seat, the armrest is too low. Fuel consumption has been really good. considering the performance. Now, I know 180 kilowatts is not huge, and 6.4 seconds to 100 is not super fast. But even with that, it's been surprisingly frugal. When you're using the travel assistant, it will not overtake on the inside lane, which of course you shouldn't do anyway, but most people do. And I'm going down a hill now with the cruise control set at 110, and it's actually keeping me at 110. You can see now in the dark how lovely the dash looks. Yes, there's no air conditioning controls down below. They're there, you just can't see them because they're not backlit. But now, if you did want to change the temperature and you can't see the backlit controls and you can't be bothered going into the climate menu, you could always just say, "Hey Volkswagen,
What can I do for you?
set temperature to 21 degrees.
Got it.
And the temperature is now 21 degrees. That's all this week for the Golf Mark 8 GTI. As usual, people should hit like.
Make a comment.
But above all, just above here, the big round dot to subscribe.